So here's my video for adding a oil pressure sensor to megasquirt 3 with tunerstudio. And so I purchased this sensor here off of eBay. It's good to 150 psi, oil, fuel, gas. And then I went over here and I determined that I want EGO2 to be the input for the 0 to 5 volt signal, because I probably never need that. And so that's pin 22 of the MX3 wiring. And so pin 22 of my MX3 wiring is a blue and white wire in my car, goes to that pin. And then my ground here is 7 on the MS ground, sensor ground. Make sure you use sensor ground. Don't just be putting it anywhere. And then your 26 on here, which is your TPS VREF 5 volt. So we're sticking 5 volt in, and this thing's grounded. And then where this is going into the EGO2 in here electrically. So now we go over here and we'll go to advanced engine, generic sensor input. And right here I got sensor 1, that's important to remember. Sensor 1 is that input electrically, and my field name is Luberschnitzel. And the linear, I left it at that. And so then these two values here is what you have to calibrate. And what I did was I hooked up a pressure gauge and an adjustable pressure regulator to my air compressor, and I set it at 0 pressure, and then I adjusted those values so that when I made a gauge on my dash, like this here is my Luberschnitzel gauge, it goes from 0 to 60. And so I opened up the properties for that, and you can see the size here. And so the sensor 1 is the output channel. So this gauge is getting this info from sensor 1, which is labeled Luberschnitzel. And that there is what you calibrate, so that when you put, so the needle will show 0 psi when you have 0 psi on your gauge, your physical gauge that you're calibrating with. And then you crank your gauge up to 60, and then you adjust that upper value. You adjust your upper value here for your generic. You'll adjust these two numbers here until you get this gauge to read what your physical gauge reads. And then once you do that, you can go and make the sweep whatever you want. You can do your low warning, your maximum value, your minimum value. You can make it change colors and crap like that. So, and then once you got this set up, you can go to advanced engine, and then you go to oil pressure, and then you can set up your alarms here. So that's where you got to remember sensor 1 here. That's the one. And then I'm still messing with this car, so it's not all done. But anyways, it's got low pressure for for many other reasons. So you set all these little warnings on there. So if you're at $4,000 and you don't have enough pressure, it'll kick up a light. It'll give you a warning, whatever. I got a oil fault light here, and then I'll be outputting it to a physical light somewhere in my vision so I can see it right away. And that's it. Good luck.